Do you know someone who is functional on the outside, but fractured on the inside? Protesting. Is it changing anything? Let's start thinking differently. If protests really worked, there would be visible change. We are still protesting. There has been no change. Actually, things have been getting worse. Why? Because when we are anti something, whatever we are anti has to exist. Healing with the Rev podcast is going to bring you comfort, build community, and give you some inspiration to move forward. Pro peace. For those of you who are old enough to remember who Mother Teresa was, Mother Teresa during the Vietnam War was asked to come to an anti-war rally. She said, I will not be there, but when you have a peace rally, invite me, I will come. She understood the difference between anti whatever and peace. So let's be for peace. And peace does not mean sitting on your butt doing nothing. It's very active. I'm Reverend Teresa Heipel. I am your host of Healing with the Rev podcast. I have lost loved ones to death. I am here to honor your faith tradition, and here you can find peace, calm, and clarity. Peace starts with community building, one person at a time, standing for something rather than against something. When we stand for, we're taking a stance for what we want. Anti-war, anti-ICE, or whatever is going on today as you are listening to this, whatever we are anti really does have to exist. We're giving power over to whatever it is we are wanting to not exist. If we want to abolish something, we need to be pro whatever that is. For this, we want pro peace. We want to be for peace. I don't think anyone would argue with me about that, but they haven't changed their mindset from something negative to something positive. So let's build something positive in this world. Peace building starts with faith. Whatever your faith is, whether it's Christian, Jewish, Islam, or anything else, I say have a faith in a higher power somewhere, because life gets difficult. And when life gets difficult, sometimes we don't know what to do with that. Building with faith, people are coming together. They're learning together. They're expounding their beliefs. They're expounding justice. And aren't we all wanting social justice? Seriously. Drum circles. It's a great way to release pent-up emotions. At my church, we have a drum circle. And when I go there, I can pound on the djembe drums, as you'll see on this picture. There's a lot of djembe drums. It's a great way because you can come up with your own rhythm and you can come up with your own chant in your head. It's pretty awesome. The podcast format, we're going to have real stories. I'm probably going to be talking more than doing interviews. I have a lot of experience in a lot of different things. I'm going to give you some practical tips and some uplifting interviews as we go along. Expressions of heartache, honoring our pain. This woman is feeling the weight of her loss. Whatever that loss is, she is not sure she wants to face reality. Sometimes reality is really difficult because reality is not someplace where we want to be. But we are here and we are now. And if you're listening to this, you're paying attention. So you are present in this moment. She appears to be afraid to see what is in front of her, whether she lost a spouse or a friend or a child or lost a job, gone into retirement, doesn't know what to do with her time. There's so many different kinds of ways of heartache, so many expressions of heartache. And whatever you're feeling, know that you are in great company and everything you feel is all good. And so I would ask you to continue to watch these podcasts because they're going to be informative. Some of them are about loss of some sort. Some of them are about these protests and peace and how we can move forward. Honor yourself by doing what is right for you in the moment. Welcome back to Steady by Design, the podcast for people who are ready to stop surviving their emotions and start understanding them. I'm Teresa Heipel, Reverend, grief specialist, shamanic practitioner, and someone who believes that every emotion you carry deserves to be understood, not just managed. Today we are talking about hurt and betrayal, and I want to start with something important. Betrayal is one of the most complex emotional experiences a human being can go through because it requires two things to happen simultaneously. You have to love someone enough to trust them, and they have to violate that trust. Without both of those things, there is no betrayal, which means that betrayal, as painful as it is actually evidence of something beautiful. You were open enough to trust. You were brave enough to love. And today we are going to talk about what to do with what that cost you. Let me describe something and see if it resonates. Someone you trusted, deeply trusted, did something that shattered that trust. Maybe it was a romantic partner. Maybe it was a close friend. Maybe it was a family member. Maybe it was a colleague. Maybe it was an institution, a church, an employer, a system you believed in. And in the aftermath of what they did, you found yourself experiencing something that didn't feel like just one emotion. It felt like everything at once: shock, disbelief, a desperate wish that it wasn't true, grief for the relationship you thought you had, rage at what they did, shame somehow as if their actions reflected something about your worth, confusion about how you could have trusted someone who would do this, and underneath all of it, a deep aching hurt that sat in your chest like something broken. That is betrayal, and it is one of the most layered emotional experiences on the entire feelings wheel. Let's look at what hurt and betrayal actually look like on the feelings wheel. Hurt and betrayal live in the angry core emotion cluster, which surprises some people. They expect to find it in the sad cluster, and grief is absolutely part of betrayal. But the primary home of betrayal on the wheel is anger, because betrayal is fundamentally a violation, and violations produce anger. In the secondary ring, you find hurt, and then moving outward into the tertiary emotions, you find the specific flavors of hurt that betrayal produces. Betrayed, the core feeling of having your trust violated by someone you depended on. Resentful, the slow burning anger that builds when hurt is not addressed. Resentment is what betrayal becomes when it has nowhere to go. Humiliated, the shame that comes when betrayal is public, when other people witnessed what happened to you, when your trust was violated in a way that felt exposing. Disappointed, the grief underneath the anger, the mourning of who you thought this person was, of what you thought this relationship was. Devastated, when the betrayal was significant enough to shatter not just the relationship, but your sense of how the world works. Each of these is a different shade of the same wound, and each needs its own specific attention. When we come back from the break, we will continue this conversation. Let's pause here for just a moment. This is what I call the steady moment. A pause to remember that peace in the world begins with peace inside us. One thing I've learned from working with people over many years is that the world does not become peaceful through more reaction. It becomes peaceful through more steadiness. When your nervous system is regulated, your thinking becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, and your presence alone begins to influence the people around you. That's the work I do through what I call steady by design. I help people regulate stress, restore clarity, and return to peace, both in their bodies and in their lives. Because when we become steady inside ourselves, we stop reacting to chaos and begin creating stability in the world around us. And that is where real peace begins. Book your discovery call using this QR code. Now, let's continue. Welcome back. I want to talk about something that I see happen almost universally after betrayal, and that causes tremendous unnecessary suffering. People turn the betrayal on themselves. They ask, how did I not see this coming? How could I have been so naive? What is wrong with me that I trusted someone who would do this? And I want to address this directly and clearly. The fact that you trusted someone who betrayed you does not make you stupid. It makes you human. Congratulations, you are a human being. Trust is not a character flaw. Openness is not naivety. The capacity to believe in people, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to love them before they have proven they deserve it, that is not weakness. That is one of the most beautiful things about being human. The person who betrayed you made a choice. Their choice is about their character, not yours. Their choice is about their capacity, not your worth. And the work of healing from betrayal is not about becoming someone who trusts less. It is about becoming someone who understands what happened, processes the wound, and learns to trust wisely from a place of wholeness rather than a place of fear. Here is how Steady by Design walks you through hurt and betrayal. Surface it. We start by naming exactly what you are feeling. Not just hurt, not just angry. What specific emotion is most present right now? Are you devastated, resentful, humiliated, disappointed? Getting precise about where you actually are is the foundation of everything that follows. Understand that we go underneath the hurt to understand what was actually violated. because betrayal always violates something specific: your sense of safety in relationship, your belief that people are trustworthy, your vision of the future you thought you were building with this person, your sense of your own judgment, understanding exactly what was taken, what specifically was broken, gives you a map for what needs to heal. Move through it. Betrayal lives in the body as a particular kind of tightness, a closing, a protective bracing around the heart and chest. In Steady by Design, this phase uses guided audio and shamanic drumming, specifically a grounded heartbeat rhythm, to help your body begin to release the protective holding it has been doing since the betrayal happened. The drum says, "You are safe now. You can begin to unclench." Anchor it. We bring you back to yourself, not to the relationship, not to the person who hurt you, to you, to your own worth, to your own wholeness, to the truth that what was done to you does not define you, and that your capacity to trust again when you are ready on your own terms is still intact. I want to say something about forgiveness because it always comes up in conversations about betrayal, especially in faith communities. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in healing. Here's what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It was not okay. Forgiveness is not reconciling with the person who hurt you. You can forgive someone completely and never speak to them again. Forgiveness is not forgetting. You are allowed to remember. You are allowed to let what happened inform you how you move forward. Here is what forgiveness actually is. Forgiveness is releasing your nervous system from the prison of permanent activation. When you carry unforgiveness, the anger, the resentment, the constant replaying of what happened, your nervous system stays in threat response indefinitely, long after the threat has passed. Forgiveness is not a gift you give the person who hurt you. It is a gift you give your own body, your own nervous system, your own future. And it happens not by willing it, but by processing the wound completely enough that the charge begins to release on its own. That is exactly what the 4 phases of Steady by Design are designed to support. Your challenge for this week: think of a betrayal, recently or old, that you are still carrying. Something you thought you had moved past, but still tightens something in your chest when you think about it. And write down, just for yourself, one sentence that completes this statement. What I actually lost when this happened was blank. Fill in the blank. Not what they did, what you lost, because naming the loss is the beginning of grieving it properly, and grieving it properly is the beginning of actually being free of it. If you have enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe here. Your follow and subscribe allows me to make better quality content for you. I will bring in guests on occasion. If this message resonates with you, I bring the Steady by Design framework to organizations, communities, and events that want to lead with clarity instead of reaction. I'd love to continue the conversation. Thank you for being here today. If this episode touched something, please share it. Betrayal is one of the most isolating experiences a person can go through, and the person who shares this episode might be exactly the lifeline someone in your life needs right now. Steady by Design is available now in beta at steady-by-design.netlify, netlify.app. Come experience the 4 phases for whatever you are carrying today. Until next time, stay steady. You were designed for this.